All right, today is September 18th. We have a DJT stock update. Yes, that's right, the stock update. I'm bringing this up because I haven't addressed it in a long, long time. If you remember correctly, with the DJT stock and Digital World Media ended up acquiring DJT stock. Now, that acquisition wasn't supposed to be public knowledge before it happened. It was one of those deals. It was supposed to be quiet and basically confidential. Two of the people in Digital World actually started putting the word out. The stock was hovering around $12, $13 a share back in 2020, when Donald J. Trump first got into office. So that $13 a share, maybe $15 a share-ish on its high end before the acquisition was announced. It started going up a little bit because these two people actually broke federal laws and SEC laws and started telling people, mainly other investors, Russians, people like that, because, oh yeah, by the way, they were Russians. They got caught doing that. The spec deal was basically, had its own rules. So the SEC didn't allow this company to go public in 2021 as originally slated, which was a big chunk of money Donald Trump was expecting, which all those business deals that he made, if he were to get back into office in 2020 and all that other stuff, that would have been some of the first big payouts from his business stuff getting in there. So we've got these two people that got in trouble with the SEC. The going public of the entity was halted until late last year, which caused big financial problems. Donald Trump had to get a bridge capital loan, in order to pay his bills because he didn't become president. He didn't have that influx of cash. This is what he was relying on. So he got this loan by a gentleman that was tied in directly, the nephew of Mr. Alex Smirnoff, who was the gentleman who was the main smoking gun person in the Joe Biden impeachment that ended up working directly for Vladimir Putin, and it was all Russian misinformation. Ironic because of the new indictments and all that Russian misinformation stuff. But anyway, his nephew was the one that gave Donald Trump like a $10 million loan, $15 million loan to make it from 2021 to present, until this stock could actually go public once the SEC lifted the investigation and freed it. So that's what ended up happening. So when it went public, of course, everyone bought in that wanted to support Donald Trump, all his international friends, because they can do that without those pesky laws of seeing where the money comes from. So the stock went up to $79, $90 very briefly, and just started coming down after that, because what came out was the in-house auditors look into the future, saying flat out that there is no way in hell it's going to be sustainable. It's not making the money. It lost $50-something million, and hasn't made money ever since. Now the stock has been plummeting ever since. Trump cannot sell his shares until the end of this month, until September. So the people who purchased the stock, who were holding on, are praying that Donald Trump doesn't dump his stock. They're praying that because if he dumps 72 million shares of stock, which he owns, the stock will bottom out and there will be nothing less. He will make his money, but the people who bought into his company to support him will all get screwed. Personally, I think that's what's going to end up happening, but that's just my opinion. So looking at it as it is, it has been consistently dropping since these audits came out, since all these financial experts were showing that they're losing so much money every quarter and it's unsustainable. There's no subscriberships besides the diehard people and people who follow Donald Trump and his cronies just to see what bullshit comes out of their mouths on their truths. That's a majority of their business. That is not good enough to launch a social media platform, especially when you're pitching it to investors initially, comparing it to the usership of Twitter, the usership of YouTube, and this is what we promised. That's what they promised investors. So the investors from the beginning know better. at this point. They know it was all bullshit in a Donald Trump sales pitch. So when we're looking at the people who do hold the stocks at the moment, they're nervous to hold on to them because they know it's very possible that Donald Trump is going to just claim as much money as he can as soon as he can, which will kill whatever's left of this company and probably put Truth Social out of business. But as of right now, these stocks are $15.75 per share. $15.75. That is almost the same price as it was as a shell company with no assets besides investor money, basically an empty warehouse, before they bought Truth Social and DJT, Truth Social, before they even acquired the asset. I use that term very, very loosely. This is almost what it's worth on paper right now. That's it. There is absolutely no value added by Truth Social and the acquisition. It is the same value. Donald Trump's going to have nothing when he's able to sell his stocks, because the other people who are part of the initial stock owners also have their opportunity to sell the stocks around the same time. The stocks become freed up after 6 months. So that's what's going to happen next. But as it is right now, this morning, the 18th of September, it is $15.75 a share. That's it. Once again, another Donald Trump business failing horribly in every single metric you want to look through. MAGA, Republicans, let that sink in.